What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode here with True Wealth. Guys, we're excited to be giving you guys some information that can help you grow your business and close more sales, right?
I'm excited, man.
So, I'm your host, Jalen.
Mike,
We're going to talk about the four
co-host.
co-hosts, the four fundamentals of an effective close. This is where the money happens, baby. This is where it truly happens, right? I always believe that the discovery and the close are the two most important parts of your entire presentation, right? So let's hop right into it, Mike. Let's talk about the four fundamentals of an effective close. Let's start with the first one.
Number one, simple. Don't be transactional. Yes, I know you're writing that down. Don't be transactional. Be relatable. This is not a transaction. This is an emotional connection with the client. The client sense you're here to make $1 and you're leaving, they will not buy off of you. Some may, but most of them want to actually feel some sort of connection with you. I can relate to this guy. I can trust this guy with my bank account, my social security number. Guys, the client is giving you all of that: bank account, social, first, last name, date of birth. Be relatable. Let the client know about you.
Exactly. And I'm going to also add this too, guys. The number one reason why clients do not purchase is because of two reasons. The first reason is due to a lack of trust or due to pricing, right? So in the closing process, guys, we don't want to have the client have buyer's remorse, but also buyer's resistance. A lot of times what happens in the close, a lot of agents, what they do is they make it sound extremely transactional by using certain words like, hey, here are your quotes. Hey, which quote do you want to go with? Which price seems the best for you? Anytime you start to use words like that, the client's mind automatically starts to trigger and pull away from the sale. So rather than saying, hey, which quote do you want to go with? Which option sounds the most attractive to you, right? These are some key things that you can start to implement inside of your close so it doesn't feel extremely transactional, right?
I love that. And I think you want to sell. I hate to use the word sell, but you want to sell as if you're buying that product as well.
Yeah.
As in, when I go to buy things, I get to buy things from folks that don't really need me to buy it off of them.
That's good. Like you walk into a shoe store and the
Yeah.
guy keeps coming back.
Yeah, the person is so nonchalant. I'm like, man, I like that. Like, I want to buy off someone that's so nonchalant.
Yeah.
They're not pressing. They're not like in my face. They're not like you want to pull away from the client. People buy things when they actually don't feel like they actually need it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And they don't feel like they're being sold to. So that's a
Yeah.
really good point. The best sales agents in this business, and just in general, guys, are the ones who can pull themselves out of the sale and not feel like they need the client.
Exactly.
Like they need the sale. Because if you start to become real thirsty and you start having, that commission breath, oh, the clients can definitely sense that.
And it's the reason why, it's a bad analogy, guys, but I'm going to say it anyways. You know how women like guys that don't chase after them?
Yeah.
That's how clients are too.
Exactly. So don't be extremely transactional, guys. I got a saying that I always tell agents. I say you sell on emotion, provide solutions based off of logic. You sell on emotion, right? And then you provide the solution based off of logic. That's extremely important in the closing process because what you're about to do is you're about to give them the solution to all their issues that they share with you in their discovery. Yeah. So this part right here, guys, you got to kind of put on your doctor's hat and be able to provide a solution that can be able to best serve them.
And also, this is a minor point, Jalen, but really minor. But before this close is happening, or while the close is happening, before you even show the quotes, there has to be, like I said, we said before, some relatability, some rapport building.
Yeah.
Because in your discovery, your fact finding, I'm sure you did some rapport building there, but just so you know, you're about to ask the client some confidential information about them. You have to be able to, they have to really, like Jalen said, trust you. Like, what did you give to the client, whether over the phone or face-to-face, have them actually trust you? Was it a badge? Was it a state license you showed them? Was it something?
Exactly. Extremely, extremely important topic when it comes to not being transactional in the sale. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We want to make sure we keep this thing extremely simple. Okay, clarity is extremely important, right? Write this down. A confused mind does not buy.
Ooh, that was a good one.
You like that
That
one?
was a good one.
A confused mind does not buy. I want you guys to think about yourselves, for instance, right? Anytime you're questioning something and you're like, man, do I really want to buy this today? Do I really know? I don't know. I don't know about the features. I don't know about the benefits. More than likely, you're not going to end up purchasing it because either it's too overwhelming, the product doesn't make any sense, or the sales agent just over-explained everything. And now you're like, I need time to think about it. Let me talk it over with my children. Let me talk it over with my family. Let me talk it over with my spouse. Because your mind is in a state of lacking clarity. So it's extremely important to always keep your process extremely simple. So how do we keep it simple? We want to make sure, first and foremost, we speak in the client's language.
Boom.
Right? We speak in their language. What does this look like? Guys, if a client gets put into a preferred product, a standard product, a graded product, a guaranteed issue product, I'm not going to come in and say, hey, Ms. Betty, you got to prove for a standard plan for $10,000 or you got to prove for a guaranteed issue policy for $15,000. No, I'm going to explain the benefit. I want to speak in their language. That's information for you. But when you explain it to the client, you simply say, hey, Mr. John, hey, this is going to be a day one coverage policy that protects you your whole life. Premiums never increase, benefits never decrease, and it does build some cash value for you.
I love that.
Right?
So when you're telling the client about the product they're going into, you're telling them the information about the policy. You also give them examples of each bulletin point. You say, hey, Ms. Client, you're going to get an IUL today.
Right.
They don't know what an IUL means, but you're breaking it down to them what that actually means, to give them examples of how the policy will benefit them while they're living, how the policy will benefit them when they pass away.
Yeah, well, the product itself, you can say, hey, it's a whole life policy, it's an index policy. But what I'm talking about is I don't want to go into explaining the underwriting of it. Does that make sense? Like, hey, this is a preferred standard graded. They don't care about that. Hey, what does this policy consist of? Okay, I got approved for a graded policy. What does that consist of? Hey, Mr. John, you know, this is going to be a 30% payout the first year, 70% payout the second year. After the third year, you're fully covered, right? They don't care about, oh, this will be a graded policy. You got to make sure you explain the benefits of the plan, speak in their language, and let them know exactly what they qualify for and what they're getting, right? Now,
I love that.
We also
because some clients, I know it's super weird, but some clients that I've talked to, they hate the word life insurance.
Yeah.
You gotta use final expense coverage. You gotta use burial insurance. You gotta use funeral insurance. Like so knowing your client and seeing if the client says, yeah, I want final expense coverage, I'm using that word throughout the whole presentation. The client says, yeah, I want burial insurance, I'm saying this policy is gonna be burial insurance. Like I'm marinating their words they're using to me. If they don't use life insurance, I'm not using life insurance.
Yeah, it's important too because a lot of people request information because they want it for a specific need and a specific reason, right? Let's move on to the next one when it comes to keeping it simple and providing clarity. Less words in the close is better.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's better to say less than it is to add on.
Less is more.
Less is more. It's extremely important for you guys to know when you're talking through your close and you're talking to your client, don't be over-explaining stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, don't over-explain it.
Yeah.
All you gotta do is explain it one time
Yeah.
and allow for the client to resonate with what you're saying. There's agents who literally over-explain and overcook the grits because they're explaining too much and they sell themselves out of the sell.
Yeah.
And the client now doesn't want to buy from you
Yeah.
because you just over-explained it and you were overselling.
Yeah. I love that. I love that. Next one.
Let's move on to the next one.
Next one. Showing 3 options. Man, this is super important. I've seen agents show more than 3 and it just makes me just do one of these. So showing 3 options is pivotal because it allows the clients to feel like they're actually in control of making their own decision.
That's good.
People like to have options. Being showing 3, it gives them plenty of options. Like I love In-N-Out. I love Chick-fil-A because when I go there, there's simple options. No offense, but I don't like Cheesecake Factory. You know why? Because there's too many options on the menu. So I like 3 options. I'm a real simple person. When you're showing 3 options to the client, you want to show a low, medium, high in regards to their budget. A low one, a medium one, and a high one. Jalen, also talk about affordability.
Yeah. This is to help you guys prevent chargebacks, but also to help your clients stay on the books for a long time and they can find something that they can actually afford.
Yeah.
So affordability is extremely important. Here's my rule of thumb when it comes to finding a plan for a client. You always want to make sure you get the budget before you show any quotes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You don't want to go in it with blinders on, not knowing the client's budget, and you come over saying, okay, you can get a $15,000, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 policy, and the client's like, whoa, that's way out of my budget.
Yeah.
Before you show quotes, make sure you find out what their budget is. Hey, Mr. John, on a month-to-month basis, how much would you like to set aside monthly to make sure everything is taken care of for your final expenses?
Or you can say, hey, on a month-to-month basis, would you not want to spend over $100 or less than $100 a month?
That's a good one. And then they're going to respond. They're going to say, well, Mike, I really don't want to spend no more than $100 a month. Guys, this is extremely important. If a client tells you they don't want to spend no more than a certain dollar amount, believe them, okay?
Yeah.
Don't go above that $100 a month.
And it's also, Jalen, I mean, cut you off, but it's good to know your clients. If you're doing final expense sales, throughout the industry, the average client, is paying about what, $70 a month?
$70 a
$80
month.
a month? You're doing more IULs, what? Usually what?
150, 200.
Exactly.
Average,
Term, same thing. So you gotta know your client and know the averages and know that they're gonna probably want to be around the averages as well. Some may pay more
Exactly.
or less, but the average.
Exactly. So making sure you guys don't show quotes higher than 100 or whatever their budget is. So your 3 options need to always be less than what they've given you. It's extremely important that you guys do that to prevent chargebacks and to not put your client in a bad position where they'll have to cancel it in month 3 or month 4.
And when you show the 3 options, these are 3 quotes, just to let you guys know, these are the 3 quotes. We're saying options because it sounds better than quotes. You show the 3 options to the client. You're saying, hey, Miss Betty, you got $10,000 for only $40 a month, $15,000 for only $60 a month.
I like that word.
$20,000 for only $80 a month.
For only, yeah.
Out of these 3, which one sounds best to you? Quiet. Now they're gonna talk. They're talking to themselves. And once they pick a quote, you gotta have your go-to line. Your go-to line, what is who's your beneficiary?
Who your beneficiary? Yeah.
You want to go straight into the next part of your application. But now hear me out though, guys. Some of them may say, I don't know which one. They all sound good to me. That's where you come in, your figure of authority, and you pick the quote for them.
Exactly.
Give
us an example of that.
So they say, I don't know which one to go with. I'm going to pick the middle one for them. I'm going to pick the middle one for them. Miss Betty, let's go this one right here. Let's just see if they approve you. If they do approve you, they'll mail the policy to your home and your first payment will be next month. Now, for some odd reason they don't approve you, I can't do anything about it. We tried and that's about it.
Yeah, that's really, really good. Being able to choose the option for your client in that situation, that scenario, is good. Like what Mike did, he just took on the coaching hat.
Yeah.
He took on the figure of authority hat, and his client respects him a lot more because he chose the option for him, for the client, right? So in those situations, you may have those clients who are like, hey, I don't really know. But in most situations, your client always chooses the middle option in the first place, right? So what Mike did is, you guys want to write this down. After you show your 3 options and you give them to the client, be quiet.
Yeah.
Whoever breaks silence first between you or your client loses. But agents, for some reason, the bad ones, who's not really good, they like to show quotes, and if there's like 10 seconds of silence, for some reason they feel like they're watching a long movie.
Yeah.
But 10 seconds is not that long. The client is thinking, they're processing, they're pondering on which one is best for their budget. You want to be quiet. You don't want to be like the agents who over-explain and cut off the silence, right? If it's silent for a few seconds and you're like, well, yeah, Mr. John, well, again, this is a whole life policy, permanent coverage. These options can take care of your family, right? It can take care of your burial expenses and leave your son Jonathan without any financial burdens, right? What did I just do? Now it becomes extremely transactional, which went against fundamental number one. And now the client's buyer's resistance is coming up because he feels like he's being sold. So don't be that client, that agent who oversells. Here's an important thing for you guys to know. Before you show quotes, everything that you need to talk about needs to be before you show quotes. Before, don't try to talk about the benefits of whole life or trying to figure out the beneficiaries and all that different stuff afterwards. No, you need to get all your information out. So once you show quotes, it's now your client's turn to be able to pick the option to move on. Okay?
Now, guys, last one here. Last one. Assume the sale. This one right here, Jen, I think is honestly the most important one.
Yeah.
Maybe. Because this is the one right here where agents get stuck on.
Yeah.
They're now showing quotes to the client.
Yeah.
And now they're dancing with them. They're slow dancing, which they should be salsa dancing into the actual getting the application done. This is where a lot of agents don't want to do the whole over the phone called a one call close or face to face trying to come back and see them again.
Yeah.
We gotta assume the sale. We gotta go straight into the application, straight into the pre-qualifying questions, which you guys should all probably have. If you don't have that, let us know. We can get you that. The questions you want to ask before you get into that application.
Yeah.
Beneficiary, client's date of birth, phone number, street address,
Everything.
the state they're born in, their driver's license number, then their social, and then their height and weight. Like, I'm asking questions also strategically as well. I'm asking easy question, a little bit of a hard question, the social, and I back it up with another easy question because I'm getting them in the routine and giving me what I want to give to me. Like giving someone your date of birth is so simple.
Right.
So that's an easy question. Easy question. Social, another easy question. Going to the banking question. And now I'm going straight into the application. I'm assuming the sale. And guys, you may get an objection when you ask about the social and the banking. You want to have your go-to rebuttal. Your go-to rebuttal that's not over-explaining things. It's a go-to punch rebuttal and gets them right back on track.
Yeah. Extremely good stuff right there. So yeah, guys, assuming a sale, right? I always tell people, hey, you have great agents, and you got just decent good agents. Your decent agents, your good agents, what they do is they ask for the sale. They'll say, hey, which quote do you want to go with? Hey, which option do you prefer? Right? Or they'll say something along the lines of, okay, is it okay if we go ahead and submit the application? All right? Like they start to over-explain. They start to say like, hey, okay, cool, let's go ahead and start the application process and see if we get you approved. The great agents, what we do is, guys, once we show the quote, the client picks one, it's I like that middle option. Okay, perfect, Mr. John. Who would be your beneficiary? Boom, I'm assuming. I'm going straight to my next point. And now I'm proceeding with the rest of my application. And I'm just pushing through until the client stops me. Now, the client is not going to stop you most cases if you're confident and you're pushing through it. It's just the normal routine. So make sure that once you show your quotes and your client chooses one, just keep going until the client stops you, right? So don't ask for the sale, assume the sale.
And it's important to have the same process every single time. I love when clients tell me, man, you've been doing this for a long time. Like, yeah, I have. Because it's the same process and I have confidence in my process.
Yeah, exactly. So guys, these are the 4 fundamentals of an effective close. make sure to just take 1 or 2 pieces of this today, add it in your sales script. If you don't have a sales script, reach out to us. We can get you ours. And I promise you, if you just take 1 or 2 bits of this call today, you will be able to start seeing an increase in your sales starting today. It just starts with one thing. And when you do that, guys, we'll see you at the top.